You are of the belief that Boris Johnson could be the next leader or should be?
Oh, could be. I certainly don't believe it should. But I don't see who the members of the House of Commons in the Conservative Party could select to go to the activists for a final choice other than the inclusion of Boris. They have to choose two. And I just don't see how they're going to organise themselves in order to find two people other than Boris. Indeed, I suspect that if they left Boris off the list, the activists might write him in.
Is there anything about Boris's fairly lurid extracurricular activities which should have any bearing on his fitness to be leader?
Well, I think that the real worries are the intemperate or uncalculated phrases that he uses. The latest one we know about the bomber vest, but then there was the very unfortunate British subject in Iran who he got involved with. And then there was years ago when Michael Howard sacked him with references to the Hillsborough disaster. So he has got a track record of saying things which are careless, at very least, and worst, culpable.
Lord Heseltine, one of the things for him is that he was an enthusiastic Brexit campaigner. And there are people who think that Theresa May, in her bones, is a Remainer, and therefore she's either driving this train to the wrong destination or doing it with the brakes on. And someone who actually believes in the project should be in charge. Now, firstly, I just wonder whether you genuinely think Boris Johnson believes in Brexit and didn't do this for his own personal ambition. And secondly, whether you agree with that point of view.
Well, that is the point of view that I expressed within hours of the original referendum decision. I said that it was essential to put the Brexiteers in charge and named Boris as one of the Brexiteers that should be in charge. And there he was as Foreign Secretary. He's been there for nearly 2 years. And has he come up with a viable alternative? No. So he's got to do something if he's going to remain street cred to the activists. And I think when David Davis resigned, remember, Boris didn't resign over Chequers until David Davis did. And I think Boris's worry then is that he would lose the top slot in the Brexit campaign to David Davis. And so he had to get out from under. But he'd been in the government as Foreign Secretary, right at the heart of the dialogue with the people concerned. And have we had a plan as to what he thinks should happen? No.
Lord Heseltine,
you are left with the conclusion. Yeah. Yes, go on.
I was going to just ask you, on the question of leadership of the party, Boris is obviously a top candidate. Ruth Davidson was tipped to be potentially the next leader of the Conservatives, has now ruled herself out, and she cited the extraordinary pressures that come with being party leader. You were obviously a very high-level person in the Conservative Party. Do you understand why those particularly hard pressures might deter capable candidates?
No, not in the end. I think that, if you can't stand the heat, you should get out of the kitchen. And in the British system, you climb a ladder in which you're increasingly subjected to the sort of pressures that ultimately you face as Prime Minister. And so you have plenty of time to work it out, to think about it. And very, very few people, when the door is opened, don't go through it.
Do you think that she may actually change her mind one day?
Well, she's obviously a very formidable politician. She's got this very exciting child that she's obviously passionate about. And so I don't expect her to have any change of mind in any short term. But I think in politics you should never use the word never in these circumstances.
Well, it's lovely to talk to you, Lord Heseltine. We just cut you off when you said we are left with the conclusion about Boris Johnson. Can I just invite you to finish that sentence?
Well, I think that You have to see Boris as a career map. He works it out. He decides which way the wind is blowing. And that wonderful phrase about a politician, a man who waits to see the way the crowd is running and then dashes in front and says, "Follow me."
Final question, Lord Heseltine. If you were
That's devastating.
I don't know if you're a betting man, but we obviously have to be out of Europe by next March. Would you put money on Theresa May or Boris Johnson being the leader of this country by the time that happens?
Well, fortunately, I'm not a betting man. All I know is that leaving the European Union is the worst mistake this country has made for 50 years. And I believe that any deal that is done, if it can be done, must go to the British people, who at the moment have got no idea of what sort of deal they were voting for in the referendum.